Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys and Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what up, Shane.
What up, nerds?
We are back coming at you with Shane's $100 upgrade to Corrupting Influence. That is the Precon Commander deck from the brand new set, Phyrexia All Will Be One. Pretty cool deck. Shane, let's go ahead and talk about what you're doing to this deck. What is this deck about? Tell me your face Commander and what you're doing.
This is a pretty mean deck, man. It's going to be caring about poison counters, which is kind of frowned upon, I want to say, in a way. But it's the slower version of poison counters, so it's all about toxic. And I think they did a really good job bringing back poison without making it super toxic. No pun intended.
I like that.
But the face commander we're going to be picking with this is Ixhel, Scion of Atraxa. They are a white, a black, and a green for a 2/5 legendary creature for Phyrexian Angel. They have Flying, Vigilance, and Toxic 2. They also have a new ability called Corrupted, and that says at the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of their library, face down. You may look at it and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. You may spend mana as if it was any mana, any color to cast those spells. So basically, if your opponents have 3 or more, they're going to be exiling a card from their library. You're going to be able to look at it and cast it and just be super annoying.
Super annoying with not only that, but the poison counters coming out of this too is irritating.
Very irritating. But like I said, it's a cool take on the poison counters. So I've played not many, I guess 2 poison decks now, and they are way more fast and mean. And this just kind of feels more of a balanced gameplay.
All right, Shane, well, let's go ahead and move on to the additions to the deck. We gave you $100. I'm curious to see what cards you threw in here. So let's take it away.
So first off, I kind of did what you originally talked about. I looked at the new set being Phyrexia All Will Be One, and I kind of said, okay, what is coming out in this new set that I can throw into this deck? And they got a lot of bangers. So to wrap the rip, we're going to be getting Bloated Contaminator, the new Vraska, Betrayal Sting, and Infectious Bite. Bloated Contaminator is 2 and a green for a Phyrexian Beast. They're 4/4 and they have Trample and Toxic 1, and it says whenever Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. So this kind of just does everything the deck wants to do. It gives you Toxic, it has a way to get around annoying blocks, and then it'll proliferate the poison counters on your opponents.
Yeah, this card is super annoying.
I'm going to say it's a bit pushed.
A little bit, 3 mana for a 4/4. And if it gets in for damage, if you actually hit your opponent, you're really just doing Toxic 2 with proliferating.
Yep, super mean, dude. And then the Vraska Betrayal Sting, 4, a black, and a Phyrexian black. You can play that with either a black or 2 life. Vraska is sadly completed, so if you do pay the 2 life instead of the mana, they will come in with 2 or fewer loyalty counters. She does start at a 6. 0 is you draw a card, you lose life, you proliferate. That's amazing already. Her -2 is target creature becomes a treasure artifact, and everyone knows you can sacrifice that, add 1 mana of any color. That's a really mean way to get rid of commanders. And then her -9 is if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. So if they don't have 9, just give them 9, I guess.
Yeah. You just give them 9, and all you gotta do is proliferate 1 time, and they're dead.
Yeah. Very mean card. And then the last here is the Infectious Bite. 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power. Target creature you don't control. Each opponent gets a poison counter. You don't really have big fatties too much in this deck, but the whole thing is everyone getting a poison counter. That's a great way to just kick off this engine.
Yeah, absolutely. Start them off strong, then start proliferating them slowly.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I like all those additions from the new set, but what other cards from older sets are you adding into the deck?
The deck out of the box has a bunch of Toxic, obviously. There were a few Infect, but I wanted to just grab more Infect now. And so right off the bat, I grabbed some of the go-tos for Infect, in my opinion. So we're going to put in Hand of the Praetors, Phyrexian Crusader, Skithrix, the Blight Dragon, and Whispering Spectre. The Hand of the Praetor is 3 and a black for a zombie, 3/2. It has Infect, and it says other creatures you control with Infect get +1/+1. And whenever you cast a creature spell with Infect, target player gets a poison counter. So it does a lot of stuff for the Infect package, let me tell you. The next one was Phyrexian Crusader. 1, a black and a black for a 2/2 Zombie Knight. They have First Strike, protection from red and white, and Infect. It's pretty straightforward. You don't want to block, most likely, and they're going to be dealing that sweet Infect damage.
That pairs extremely well against the Rebellion Rising deck that is just red and white.
I promise I didn't do it on purpose. The next one was Skithrix, the Blighted Dragon. This guy, I'm sure everyone has seen this creature. 3, a black and a black for a 4/4 Dragon Skeleton. They have Flying, Infect. You can pay a black, he gains haste until end of turn. You can pay 2 black, you can regenerate him. So he is a pain to get rid of.
Yeah, nicknamed Skittles. Very good card. Surprised we didn't get a new version of him in this set. But hey, maybe March of the Machines, we get some new Skittles.
Maybe. That'd be so strong in standard, bro. I can't imagine. And lastly, Whispering Spectre. 1 and 2 black. For a 1/1 Spectre, they have Flying, they have Infect, and it says whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, that player discards a card for each poison counter he or she has. That is just very mean for the game we're playing, where we're kind of dishing out poison counters to everyone, and we kind of want to do that, keep up the corrupted ability. So now everyone can be discarding maybe 3, 4, 5 cards. It's nuts.
Yeah, all these creatures. The old Infectors. Very strong.
Gotta love them.
All right, well, that's some really awesome creatures to throw into this upgrade. Are you putting any artifacts that help the deck hum as well?
I will be adding a couple. I'm going to throw in Corpse Cure and Sword of Truth and Justice. Corpse Cure is a 4-mana 2/2 Hound with Infect, and when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card with Infect from your graveyard to your hand. So when they deal with your Infect creature, play Corpse Cure, grab that Infect creature, put it back in your hand, you're ready to go. Sword of Truth and Justice is 3 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and blue. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control and then proliferate. That proliferating is nuts, dude.
Yeah, this is one of the best swords they ever created. And you just can't get better than proliferated in a deck like Poison.
No, I will put it in every Poison Infect deck I ever make.
And I don't blame you for it, man. It's a really good card. So being a 3-color deck, did you end up changing the mana base to make it a little bit more efficient?
I did. Out of the box, it is a Precon, and they have many tap lands and slow lands. Lands that just enter the battlefield tapped, I mean. So I wanted to get those out and add some more efficient ones. So we're going to add Bountiful Promenade, Undergrowth Stadium, and Vault of Champions, which are all 3 of the Bond lands. If you have 2 or more opponents, they come in untapped. You're playing EDH, most likely you'll have more than 2 opponents. They'll always come untapped for you.
Yep, quick to the point. Very, very, very good lands.
Yes. And very affordable.
So is that it, Shane? Is that all your additions to the deck?
That'll do it, man. That's what I put together.
I love it. So now we get to the part that's a little more difficult. Adding cards is always great, but cutting them is even harder. Shane, what are we cutting out of this Precon deck?
Yeah, we're going to get some cuts, man. Mycosynth Fiend is out. Glissa's Retriever is out. Contaminator Grafter is out. All these cards, pretty strong. 2 of them had really high CMCs, so I kind of wanted to cut the CMCs down a little bit. The Fiend gets a 1/1 for each poison counter your opponents have. So they start as a 2/2. So that is cool, but there's no evasion on the card, so it can just easily be chump blocked, and it didn't have Toxic or Infect on it, so I cut it out for one of the stronger cards. Glissa is the 6 mana, so it's 5 and a green for a 6/6. It did have the Toxic, which was hard to cut. It was just the top end of the deck that I think the cards that I added brought the curve down a little bit and are just stronger than this card. The Contaminator Grafter, again, is 4 and a green, so it's 5 for a 5/5. It's got Trample and the Toxic one, which we did want. So again, just I feel like everything that I'm adding in is just a bit stronger than these cards.
I can understand cutting those. They're a little bit of expensive creatures.
Yeah, and I just feel like what we're adding in is stronger than these that we're taking out.
What else are we getting rid of?
We're saying goodbye to the other commander in this precon, Vishgraz the Doomhive. You can play with this card as your commander and maybe take the deck in a little bit more of a different direction, since they can make you 1/1s that'll also have toxic and can't block because they're mites. That's cool. That just wasn't the avenue I wanted to go down, and so I just decided to cut it out, make room for more infect people. We're also getting rid of Venomous Brutalizer and Windborn Muse. Venomous Brutalizer is 2 and 2 green for the 4/4. It does have Toxic 3, so it did have the Toxic, but it only had an ability on it that happened one time when you cast it. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay 2 and do a Proliferate. That is strong, but it only was strong for the one turn, and I kind of just felt like it was a little underwhelming. And then Windborn Muse, 3 and a white for a 2/3 flyer. It says creatures can't attack you unless their controller plays 2. That is pretty good. It stops people from attacking you because your deck is going to be kind of fragile. But like I said, I feel like things that I've added are just a bit stronger than that card.
Really interesting addition they put Windborn Muse in. I guess it makes sense because they expect everyone to go after the toxic player first.
Yeah,
so
it's true. There are other ways in the deck though, with enchantments and whatnot, to slow people down from attacking you. And since it didn't have toxic or infect, I just kind of didn't think it needed to be in there anymore.
Yeah, we've already said toxic is just the worst version of infect, so swapping all these out for infect creatures is just better.
I think the same thing too, yeah.
What are the other cards besides creatures you're getting rid of?
Yeah, this deck out of the box had 4 board wipes, which I felt was really high. We're going to keep 2 of them in there still, but I'm going to cut 2 of them out. So we're going to cut Calling Ritual and Phyrexian Rebirth. Calling Ritual destroys all non-land permanents with mana value 2 or less, and it adds mana for each permanent destroyed that way. And Phyrexian Rebirth destroys all creatures. Then you can create an XX colorless horror, where X is the number of creatures destroyed that way. Again, they're perfectly fine board wipes, but having 4 in just one deck I felt was a little excessive. And the ones that we kept in there, like we're keeping Fumigate in there, which is great. Like we're keeping other ones in there, so we're fine.
Yeah, we're making these upgrades based on the fact that we're playing multiple decks, not just each other. So Calling Ritual, well, it's very good against Rebellion Rising. It's not as good against other people.
Yeah. And like I said, like I'm not neutering every board wipe. There are still definitely board wipes in here. I know that they're important to have in a EDH deck, but I didn't need 4 of them.
All right, we know you added some bond lands to the deck. What are the lands you're taking out to replace them?
Out of the box, this deck has 38 lands, which I felt was a little high. It might have made sense because the curve was a bit higher in there originally. But since we're cutting out a lot of the curve, I kind of wanted to cut down a little bit on the lands as well. So we added those 3 bond. We're actually going to cut 4. So we're going to bring our land just down by 1 to 37. We're going to be cutting Myriad Landscape, Temple of Silence, Temple of Plenty, and Temple of Malady. Basically, what we're adding are just strictly upgrades to those temples. Temples come in tapped. They can scry for you, but just the coming in tap part, I don't think it's worth the scry, in my opinion.
Yeah, adding the bond lands and getting rid of the temples is just faster.
Yeah,
you can't beat fast.
Yeah, it was just one of the first things I saw was like, hey, I can literally just upgrade these to cards that come in untapped. Perfect.
Yeah, it makes sense. So is that gonna do it? Is that all the upgrades from the deck?
That's all the upgrades and all the cuts. That's the deck.
All right, so you know the drill. We gave you $100 to improve this deck. After all your additions, what is the total amount of money you spent?
You're going to be so proud of me.
Okay.
I spent, as of the recording of this video, $101.73.
You went over.
No, but not by a lot.
I'll give it to you. That's good. Do you have any final thoughts on the deck or how the commander plays?
It's a very fun deck. We've played it once already, and spoiler alert, we'll maybe put that video up for everyone later. But when playing against you guys, I had a lot of fun. I got to do what the deck wanted to do. It is a lot slower than an infect deck. So if people are coming into this thinking it's going to be an infect deck, it is not. It is. I mean, you could be mean and target one person and but I kind of feel like this deck wants to share the love a little bit, and that's what I did. And it's fun. It's a fun deck.
Share the love. Share some corrupting.
Yeah,
Influence people. You know.
exactly. You want to have 3 or more on some people. Get some corruption going. It's great.
Well, that is going to do it. Check the description down below if you want to see Shane's entire deck. It is on Moxfield. Link is there. Also, while you're down there, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Shane will be doing a $300 version of this deck coming out very soon as well. And if you check the description, not only will you find the Moxfield links, but you'll also find links to our Instagram, our Twitter, and our TikTok. That is at Guys That Magic on all of those. Follow us on all of those to keep up to date with everything else that's going on with us. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye-bye.